What's up, guys? Tonight we're going to be starting a long overdue project that I have. So pretty much ever since I got my new truck, I've been planning to do this and I just haven't gotten around to doing it, and I've finally gathered all the stuff to do it. So ultimately my trailer is lacking in the light department. There's really no work lights, there's no backup lights, there's nothing. And at night, it's a complete bitch to back up. You can't see anything. It really is just like the perfect length where you can't see the back of the trailer through the rear window or over the back of the dually flares. So if it was a little bit longer, I'd be able to see it, but just the length it is, 26 foot, it's almost like it's too short where I can't see it. So we're going to be adding some lights to that. We're also going to be adding strobe lights as well, and lights to the truck itself. So the plan is that I'm going to use the factory aux switches that come as an option on the new trucks, and I'm going to use those switches to control the lights on the trailer, and then also be able to control the lights on the trailer manually. So the way that I'm going to do that is through another one-off piece from Talbot Industries right here, which I designed, custom made, 3D printed in-house. And then I'm using Deutsch connectors. So I got a 4-pin connector here. That's all weather tight in here. And then the factory 7-pin connector will bolt here. This bolts to your bed using all pre-existing not pre-existing hardware, but mounting locations. And then this harness will get tied up along with your 7-pin connector. So this is where the interface is going to be between the truck side and the trailer side. So you plug your trailer in, you plug this in, and now you're able to connect and control lights on the trailer from inside the cab. So you're pulling up on where you're going to be loading up. Say it's a busy road, you flip on the switch, now you got strobe lights on your trailer. You throw in your flasher module, which is for a later date, but I have an OBD flasher that I plug into the OBD port on the truck. Now your truck's flashing, now you can, be somewhat safe out on the road, get people's attention saying that, hey, I'm out here, pay attention. Also, backing up at night, you want to turn on lights. Well, flick the switch inside the cab, and now you got lights. So, I got some of these square lights here, and strobe lights from Speed Tech Lighting. So these are what I'm going to be using on the truck and the trailer as lights. And also a light bar here that I got on the cleaner track at Tractor Supply. So we're going to be using these, and then I got some of these white and yellow, or white and amber strobe lights, bunch of different patterns on these, super bright. And then I also got the same lights as these, but they're only 3 LED, and they're all clear. I'm going to be using those as kind of like, I'm going to call them loading lights. So I'm going to have one up underneath the gooseneck, so when you're loading at night, you can see the ball, everything like that. I'm going to be putting steps on the trailer at some point, so those will point down at the steps, so you'll be able to see where you're going. Plan is I'm going to take this box here, and this is going to be mounted inside the toolbox of the trailer. I just got this from Amazon. And then a row of rocker switches is going to get set inside this box. I got all custom rocker switch made by Rocker Switch Pros. Haven't used anything yet, but they look like they're really nice stuff, fully customizable. You get to pick out the picture, the lettering, if you want the indicator on the bottom, all that. So that's going to be wired up. There's going to be a terminal strip in there for easy connections. There's going to be cord grips on the end, so it's a nice watertight connection. There's really no need to, because all these switches are 100% waterproof. All the connectors are waterproof. This box is waterproof, and it's inside the toolbox of the trailer. So there's really not going to be any water getting in there, but it's always good to plan ahead. You never know what's going to happen, but we're covered. So the first thing we're going to start with tonight is going to be setting up the wiring harness that's going to go from the truck, that's going to get ran from the front of the truck where your aux switches are, and then all the way back to where your trailer is. So I have 6 wires that I have on hand, just as, shop supplies. They're actually right there. And I'm going to be using all 6 to run from the front of the truck to the back of the truck. And the reason is that I'm only going to be using 3 of them. So I got strobe lights in the trailer, backup lights on the trailer, and then backup lights on the truck. So I'm only using 3, but I'm going to run 6. The reason for that is because, one, I'm going to use one as a ground for the light, so I can ground directly to the battery, not to the chassis. And if I ever need wires from the front to the truck to the back of the truck, all the hard work is done. They're already routed through the chassis. They're wire loomed. They're all set, ready to go. I can just extend one end of the wire to go wherever I need out front or wherever I need out back, and we're good, and we're planned for the future. So these videos are probably going to be a little bit on the longer side or short. Kind of depends on how much detail I'm going to put in, but I really want to show you guys the attention to detail that I'm going to be putting into these harnesses and everything that I'm going to be doing about this whole project. So it's going to be a bunch of videos, you know, line by line. So if you're watching this real time as I put them out, you're going to have some time in between the videos. If you're watching this years down the line, then there'll be a video at the end that'll just jump towards, you know, the next step in this project. So we'll get started getting everything laid out, and hopefully you guys enjoy. So the first thing I did is I took one wire at a time, clamped it in the vise here, and then I measured out to the far end of the welding cart, which is 23 feet. The truck itself is 21 feet, and I'm giving that extra 2 feet to count for having to go up and down the chassis, and then also have a little bit extra length. So what we're going to do from here is that we're just going to run all these wires, make sure that nothing's tangled up in them. And once we're tangle free, that should be good. I'm going to take some electrical tape, and every couple feet, we're just going to put a couple wraps just to hold it together. So up at the vise, I have it a zip tie there for now, plus it's clamped in the vise. And we're just going to go and start. Just put a couple wraps of tape just to hold everything together for us. I don't have to do it too crazy, just enough to keep it so that they stay nice and neat for you. We use a nice 3M electrical tape as well. You don't want to, tape's cheap. You don't need to get real cheap and cheap out even more. The cheap stuff just doesn't last, it doesn't stick, and I wouldn't trust it for voltage either. If you're trying to isolate something, you know, because electrical tape's for electrical work, 3M's the way to go. So the next thing we're going to do is we got our wire bundle here all taped up. We're going to be installing some split loom. So it's nice plastic loom, folds over itself, easy to install. Personally, I think this looks a lot better than your normal corrugated split loom that you can get pretty much everywhere. This stuff I ordered right off of Amazon. There's a bunch of different suppliers that sell it. You can get it in a bunch of different sizes, colors, patterns, wherever, depending on where you get it from. That was a mosquito. But additionally, I got these really nice install tools from wirecare.com. It's going to make life a lot easier running 23 feet worth of wire loom. If you only got to do a couple feet, it's not that big of a deal to put it on. You just catch it and you kind of work it over itself like that. Could do the whole length like that. It's just going to take you a little bit. So this tool clips over the wire just like that, and then you spin it so it covers up the wire. And then I'm going to start down a little bit at the second tape mark. The second tape mark is 2 feet. So 2 feet back from the front is where the bundle is going to begin. All these will be loomed individually so they can be routed to wherever they need to go. So you just take it and you kind of feed it over the cone section here. You get it started where you want, and then you just pull it back on itself, just like that. And nice and easy. So we'll continue through and do the whole thing just like that. So what we gotta do next is connect the ends for the upfitter switches. I went into detail in that a little bit more in the too low video, so you can go check that out. So we're gonna start off with just cutting all the ends at the same length, like that, and then we'll cut off my electrical tape that I put on to hold things in place. So colors don't really matter for this. If you're doing your own, you can really pick wherever you want for wires. Me personally, I am going to not use the red and the black for the lights. I'm going to leave those so that if I want to have a dedicated power and ground, I can. So like I said before, I'm going to be running the truck lights. I'm going to be grounding them through this. So this is going to end up going to the battery. So I'm going to save that, and just saving the red just as kind of your standard color coding process for automotive wiring. So that leaves me the 4 other ones. I'll probably just do white, yellow, and blue. I could use the green. It doesn't really matter. So you gotta kind of think ahead when you're doing electrical and you're paying attention to it and you're trying to do it nice. So all these are going to be wrapped individually in loom, and it's going to go inside and terminate into here. And where that connection is going to be a piece of shrink tube that's going to hold everything together. Alternatively, you can wrap it with electrical tape. I just like to use shrink tube. I think it's a lot more professional looking. It's not necessarily as user friendly, but it does look a lot better. So I have this heat shrink kit here. I'm not exactly sure what ratio it is. I don't remember. But the big thing is that it's very thick and it has adhesive built into it. So it's going to be a really good watertight seal and also hold on to whatever you're doing. So obviously where the 2 looms come together don't need to be watertight because there's nothing there. But it'd be nice if they held together, so that adhesive in there is just going to help hold everything together. So I'm going to pick out the size that's going to fit, which is going to be this guy. Run all the wires through, and I'm going to be using a full piece for this. Run that through. This will go over the split loom, just like that. And I'll pull that back out of the way for now. Now, we can start with putting these ends on. So like I said, I'm going to leave power and ground off to the side for now, and we'll also leave the green one out of the way. So we have our 3 ends. We're going to start with stripping each end. These automatic wire strippers make life real easy to strip them. They're nice and sturdy. I always give everything a nice little twist when I'm done with them. And then we have heat shrink butt connectors that we're going to be using. So this is all 12 gauge wire, which you can cram into a blue butt connector, and it takes up less space than the yellow one. So that's what we're going to be using for this. So to get it started, that one I got to trim a little bit shorter. So I'll take my pair of flush cutters here, trim them down so I can get the butt connector in there and have good surface area for the heat shrink to go to. And you want to get yourself a pair of real good crimpers. So these are Snap-on ones, but Channel Lock makes them, other people make them. The big thing is that they're thick on the end. They're not your stamped sheet metal wire stripper crimper combos. Those don't work worth a shit. These are nice and sturdy, and they really create a really nice crimp. And it's a good wide surface area, and that thing's never going to come apart. So now you can crimp these together. then I like to use a heat gun, but you can use a lighter instead to shrink down the ends here. So those are all set. These butt connectors also have a little bit of adhesive in them, so it creates a really strong seal between the wires, and it's also strong as well. So now we can start running our loom over these. So again, we can use one of the tools, but it's a short enough distance here where we can just do them, you know, manually by hand, and we won't have much of an issue with it. So we got them all wrapped in loom, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take a piece of heat shrink to terminate the ends. So heat shrink slides over the terminal over there, and we're just going to line up. We're just going to leave a little bit of a gap showing that wire color there. Take our heat gun and shrink it up. Just like that, we'll do the rest of them. So when I have unused wires, what I like to do is obviously don't strip the end, and I'll take a small piece of heat shrink, put it over there about halfway, obviously shrink it. Now while it's still hot, take a pair of pliers and pinch the end and let it cool down, and then just trim them flush, just like that. And no water or anything will ever get inside that wire, and you'll have a nice crisp end that you can use if you ever need to use the wire later on. So they're all loomed up. We can now take the bundle and put them into the original piece of loom. Slide our piece of heat shrink over top. It'll be tight fit, but it'll get there. Just like that. And now we can heat shrink it. So this side's pretty much all wrapped up. I'll give you some close-ups on how everything looks. That's the main junction, and then these are the ends. You can see right there, that's the glue that's coming out of the heat shrink. The butt connectors are all hidden, but it's got the same adhesive or glue inside there. So these will just plug right back into your aux plugs, and the rest of it will just get tucked down up underneath the fender, and the rest of it will get ran out to the back of the truck. So this will probably wrap up this video. This is like the first step of this project. So stay tuned to see what's next. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want to do this.